The message means nothing until it's lived. Knowledge alone isn't transformation. We hear wisdom all the time, from books, from people, from life itself. But hearing is not the same as knowing, and knowing is not the same as living. A Course in Miracles, ACIM, teaches that truth isn't something we learn in the conventional sense. It's something we remember, something we experience. The Course tells us, an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. In other words, no matter how many times we hear the truth, if we don't apply it, it remains just words. So when we talk about messages, messengers, and whether or not we listen, the real question isn't who's saying it, or even what's being said. The real question is, am I willing to practice what I claim to believe? Let's break this down from a truth perspective. If the message doesn't change your actions, did you really receive it, or did you just listen to noise? ACIM tells us that words are but symbols of symbols. They are thus twice removed from reality. This means that words alone don't bring truth. They only point to it. If you say you've received a message, but nothing in your behavior shifts, then what have you really received? Did you take it in, or did you just register the sound? The Course asks us not just to hear truth, but to live it. To teach is to demonstrate. In other words, your real beliefs aren't what you say, they're what you do. It's not about the messenger or the message, it's about whether you're ready to hear it. A Course in Miracles teaches that perception is selective. What you see reflects your thinking, and your thinking but reflects the choice of what you want to see. This means that no matter who delivers a message, if you're not ready to accept it, you won't hear it. It will pass through you like wind. And yet, once you are ready, the same message that you ignored for years will suddenly feel profound. The truth has always been there. The question is, are you willing to accept it now? You can get the same message 1,000 times, but until you apply it, it's just words floating in the air. The Course says you will first dream of peace and then awaken to it. This means that at first, spiritual truths may feel theoretical. They may sound nice, but remain distant. But if you practice, if you take them from words into experience, they transform your reality. Until then, it's just intellectual noise. The same message repeated does nothing. But the moment you live it, it changes everything. A message unpracticed is like a map never used. You still end up lost. ACIM teaches, a theoretical foundation such as this is necessary as a background to make these exercises meaningful. Yet it is the exercises which will make the goal possible. The Course gives us concepts, but it constantly reminds us that understanding alone is not enough. You have to apply what you learn. A map can tell you where to go, but if you never take a step, you will stay in the same place. The question is, are you willing to move? If you ignore both the messenger and the message, was the warning ever real to you? ACIM teaches that nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. If something is true, it does not need your belief to be true. It just is. So if you ignore truth, what does that mean? Not that the truth has changed, but that you have chosen not to recognize it. The message was always there. The lesson was always waiting. But until you accept it, it remains invisible to you. You don't embrace wisdom when you hear it. You embrace it when you live it. The Course tells us, you see what you expect, and you expect what you invite. Transformation doesn't happen just because you acknowledge an idea. It happens when you shift your entire perception, when you act from the truth, not just in response to it. In ACIM, forgiveness isn't just a concept, it's a practice. Until you apply it, it's just theory. If you reject the message, does it matter who said it? Truth doesn't need a name tag. Jesus, Buddha, Krishnamurti, your next-door neighbor. It doesn't matter who says it. Truth is truth. ACIM teaches that the ego wants to label truth, assign it to a source, and decide whether that source is worthy. But truth isn't about the speaker. It stands alone. The truth is true, and nothing else is true. The question is, will you accept it no matter where it comes from? The message isn't the lesson. The consequences are. Some people only learn through impact. The Course tells us that pain is nothing more than a resistance to learning. Tolerance for pain may be high, but it is not without limit. Eventually, everyone begins to recognize, however dimly, that there must be a better way. For some, Hearing a message is enough. For others, the lesson doesn't sink in until suffering forces them to see. The question is, how much pain do you need before you listen? Received isn't a message understood. Understanding comes when life forces you to face it. ACIM tells us that what is seen reflects a process in your mind and has nothing to do with what is real. You may think you understand a spiritual truth, but true understanding only comes when you apply it in the moments that challenge you. It's easy to talk about forgiveness until you have to forgive someone who deeply hurt you. You don't know a lesson until you've lived it. It's not the words that change you, it's what you do with them. ACIM tells us that the world we see is a projection of our thoughts. The power of decision is your own. This means that no message, no teaching, no wisdom will change you unless you decide to change. No words will save you, no teacher will do it for you. The course is a self-study guide because transformation isn't about memorizing a book. It's about choosing to see differently. Final thoughts. The message was never missing. Only your willingness to accept it. A Course in Miracles reminds us that we are not learning new things. We are unlearning illusions. The message is always there. The truth is always present. The only thing in question is, are you ready to apply it?